Emergency.
Today on Rescue 911. Attack in the night. Frantically gasping for breath.
She just said asthma. She couldn't talk enough to give me any information.
You could literally watch her heart rate begin to slow down.
A young girl clings to life.
She was turning blue.
Oh, would she survive this?
Plus,
we are dispatched simultaneously with the ground units.
emergency crews take to the air.
3-year-old. She has first and second.
My baby to be all right.
On Rescue 911.
At the Kenna home in Milford, Ohio, 16-year-old Angie usually shared a room with her younger sister, Pam. But on November 12, 1993, Pam was staying at their father's house. When their mother, Beverly, left her oldest child and went to bed that evening, she never dreamed that this night would not be like any other.
Angie, I'm going to go to bed, okay, hon? Okay. Night, sweetie. Good night, Mom.
Angie was diagnosed as an asthmatic at about the age of 5 or 6, and it's progressively gotten worse. When she gets short of breath, she can't walk any distance because she can't catch her breath enough to do so. But she had had a period of 2 or 3 years where she hadn't had any serious attacks.
With a severe asthma attack, the actual airway tree is so spasmed down that they are unable to breathe air in. They're going to die if they don't get help right away.
When we continue.
911 emergency. It scares you because you don't know what's happening to her, and there's nothing I can.
911 emergency. What's the matter? Okay, you're at apartment 27? Okay, hold on a second, okay?
Claremont County Dispatcher Marcy Phillips took the call.
She just said asthma. She couldn't talk enough to give me any information. But I knew where she lived through the 911 system. It appears on our screen.
Okay, we got a person on the phone having a severe asthma attack.
Okay, we'll get him right over.
Okay.
Bye.
Beverly? Are you still there? Okay. We're going to send a squad out there, okay? Is there anybody with you?
It scares you because you don't know what's happening to her. The breathing machine got louder in the background. I could not hear her breathing at all.
Pick up the 911.
I'd lost contact with her, and there was nothing I could do to help her.
Miami Township Police Officer Gary Roush had been on patrol less than 4 minutes away.
Dispatcher told me to proceed to an address with the report of a person with difficulty breathing.
To my surprise, there was a police officer at the door.
Hi.
I had no idea.
Suspicions were it was a possible domestic quarrel of some sort. Dispatcher was actually talking to somebody. They said that the person was having difficulty breathing and that they lost contact.
Angie.
Right then I knew if someone was having trouble breathing who it was.
Angie. It's my daughter. It's my daughter. Angie. Angie.
I was scared to death. Angie was unconscious, and you could hear the mucus in her airway.
She was turning blue, so I advised dispatch to have the squad step it up.
Miami Township paramedics Terry Robbins and Steve Monteroso arrived soon after.
Police officer said, hurry up, it's a 16-year-old and she's not breathing. Your heart kind of clamps up. I don't think you take a breath until you get inside there. Hey, ma'am, we're going to need you to step back.
She's not breathing well enough.
Okay. With asthma, the air passages literally seal up. We were going to have to open up her lungs or we were going to lose her.
Just as I was putting an oral airway into her throat before I went to put that tube into her, she clenched down her jaws, which made intubation almost impossible. I didn't want to lose what little airway we did have. And I just bagged her with an ambu bag.
We're going to have to do something, Steve. We're not moving any air at all. Okay. She was so tight and closed up that as hard as we could squeeze that bag, we couldn't even force any air into her lungs. We gave her some epinephrine, and a little bit of air was now going in, but certainly not enough to bring her around.
Call Claremont County, get air care dispatch.
You could literally watch her heart rate begin to slow down from lack of oxygen. I didn't believe that she would pull out of it. We're barely getting a little bit of air in.
University of Cincinnati Hospital flight doctor Sabrina Leach took charge at the scene.
Hi.
What's happening?
16-year-old female had an
I was very concerned because she was doing what we call posturing, what you see when somebody is not getting enough oxygen to her brain. If that continues, she can be permanently brain damaged from that.
Way to get in until you can get her to.
She needed to have an airway. We went ahead and intubated her by sticking a breathing tube down her nose.
Breath sounds coming out, yeah, it's in.
We also went ahead and started giving her medication that is aerosolized and it goes directly into the lungs.
You got good breath sounds?
This is the most severe asthma case that I've seen.
We're going to be going to University Hospital, okay?
It's just so scary seeing her like that. All I could think of was, you know, would she survive this? She just looked so close to death.
She did get something up the other scene.
16-year-old Angie Kenna was admitted to the emergency department under the care of Dr. Rashmi Katari.
She was completely unresponsive and basically comatose. She was young, which was in her favor, but it bothered me that she wasn't moving at all.
Your daughter's doing much better.
Angie's younger sister, Pam, and their father, David Kenna, joined their mother at the hospital as soon as they heard what had happened.
Able to move more air in and out.
I said, I love you, Angie, and touched her hand so I could see if there was any reaction or anything, and there was none.
She can't breathe on her own at this point.
I was feeling pretty sad. We didn't know if something was wrong with her brain. But I know she wouldn't die because she's a fighter.
We're going to take her into the intensive care unit next
4 days later, Angie was released from the hospital.
Ready to shop?
Yeah.
Amazingly, she suffered no brain damage.
We'll try on some sunglasses.
It's made me want to stay closer to her. Her asthma's still unstable at this point. She has new medication, and we have an EpiPen that she carries with her. So if she has a problem, she can give herself a shot of adrenaline.
Cool. Different.
I love her with all my heart. I'd do anything for her to help her. If I could, I'd go through the asthma myself, but it's something that she has to do on her own, and all we can do is be there to encourage her.
I just don't think they're you, though.
I used to be really embarrassed of my asthma, but then I realized that there would be times that I would have trouble in front of other people and I couldn't hide it.
It's not going to go away. It's always going to be there. If she can get it under control, she can have a normal life.
Make your fly noise.
I love my sister and everything about her. She just makes faces and jokes around a lot. If she wouldn't have made it, I'd miss her, all of her being there. She's there for me whenever I need her.
Are we here looking for guys, or are we looking for school?
I want to thank everybody for what they did for her and how they helped her. But none of that would have happened either if she hadn't dialed 911.
I've been told that she had only minutes, that it was that close. Yeah. If the dispatcher had not seen the address on the screen, I'm almost positive that she would not have made it. And I'd be grabbing onto anything. I don't know whether she knows it or not, but having almost lost her, there's almost nothing I wouldn't do at this point to protect her.
The hardest thing about having asthma is that I can't do as much as my friends, but never do I let it get the best of me.
Oh, there goes one. That was good.
Next.
You feel a lot of times helpless. You want to do so much for the child, you know,
In their battle to save lives, rescuers look for any edge they can find. This story is not a recreation. It's a ride-along with members of the Arcadia Air Med Service in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, whose fleet of helicopters fly day and night in order to give victims a better chance to beat the odds.
Air Med 3, go ahead.
So we're I-10 westbound, signal 29. Should be 18-wheeler versus one vehicle.
the helicopter is such a great tool in this type of geographical area.
Oh, back over here, Ken, I got him.
We covered about 14,000 square miles.
Yeah, they were chasing each other, three-wheeler. Ow!
A lot of that is swampy, bayou, rivers type terrain.
May 30th, 1993, 3:48 p.m. Paramedic Kent Kramer responds to a report of an accident involving a speedboat.
Unlike many helicopter services around the nation, we are dispatched simultaneously with the ground units.
Intersection of 16 and 22 at the Pinal Bank Club. Should be right near the bridge. Signal 29 involving a boat. Patient is being taken to the intersection by another boat.
Unfortunately, we can't read street signs or see the yellow mailbox from 1,000 feet in the air.
And what units responded to that?
Unit 62 from Window.
10-4 with 62.
When we initially got the call for the boating accident, details were very sketchy. There were several injuries involved, and that the patients were being transported by boat to the nearest boat landing.
He got thrown, was knocked out. He's got rib pain and back pain.
My biggest concerns in boating accidents are spinal injuries, neck injuries.
Dempsey Pendarvis had been driving the speedboat.
And all of a sudden, the boat just went left real hard. I seen Donna and Michelle flying out of the corner of my eye.
That's going to be a little
When Michelle was swimming, I hollered at her, and she said she was basically okay. But Donna Ray was underwater, and I just jumped out in the water, and he was completely submerged. I mean, I reached down and grabbed him.
Where you heard that, sir?
If Donna Ray wouldn't have had a life jacket on, I couldn't have found him.
The story that I got from the husband was that they were riding in a speedboat doing in excess of 70 miles an hour, at which time the boat got somewhat out of control and ejected him and his wife both out of the boat.
Where does the rib pain start? Somewhere around.
I'm pretty sore. I'm in a little pain right now.
Right rib pain immediately after the incident, but awakened oriented vitals within normal
He
limits.
began stating that he had respiratory difficulty. And that's when the determination was made to fly him to Baton Rouge.
Airman 3, Our Lady of the Lake. Ma'am, I have a 42-year-old Caucasian male involved in a boating accident. Patient was ejected from the boat at a high rate of speed. Plane is left, humorous pain, which we have acquainted with a sling and swab right now, and also some right rib pain. Patient requesting your facility for evaluation. Do you have any further orders or questions?
58, 10 Hospital.
6 p.m. the next evening.
Head and ambulance service, do you have an emergency? Yes. What city? Ennis. And what's the problem there, ma'am?
Okay, my 3-year-old grandbaby has been burned by grease.
Okay, where exactly is he burned?
In the face and the chest.
Okay. Whatever's burned, try to pour some cool water on him.
Should be the third house on the right.
And this is a very small town, and the street name rang a bell, so to speak, in my head. I've run several calls on that street.
Probably gonna be right down here, if I had to guess. Right here, you better see the unit, I see the unit. Yeah, we got you.
We weren't able to land right next to the house, so the ambulance then transported the patient down to the helicopter.
The burn victim is 3-year-old Jamise Barrett.
A lot of times when people are burned, especially by something such as grease, just because you've wiped the grease off of you does not mean that it does not continue to burn. The biggest advantage was the fact that she was basically within maybe 10 or 12 minutes of a burn center by air versus about 45 minutes by ground.
Airman 3, Baton Rouge General. I have a 3-year-old black female. She has first and second degree burns around the mouth. She has second degree and a small area of third degree.
Children don't always express what's hurting them, but you can just see it in their faces and in their eyes. I had already explained to her that her parents would be on the way to the hospital to meet us and that they would be there shortly after our arrival. It gets to you because you feel a lot of times helpless. You want to do so much for the child, you know, to alleviate the pain that they're going through, and you can't.
Okay, baby. Okay, huh? Everybody's got masks on. Okay, Mommy and Daddy's coming, sweetie. They're gonna come see you, okay?
Among the doctors treating Jamise at Baton Rouge General Hospital is surgeon Andrew Hargroder.
Jamise has approximately a 10% total body surface area burn. Because it was from hot grease, these burns are usually a little bit deeper than, say, a scald burn from water. So it's very difficult right now to tell whether she's going to need any further care as far as surgical intervention.
Jamise's parents, Angela and James, are brought up to date on her condition.
And I just wanted to tell you a few things before you come back in here. Right now it looks like it's second degree, which means that it's going to heal. With a grease burn is over 2 to 3 days, it can get deeper, so we want to keep a real close eye on it to make sure she doesn't need any surgery.
I wish it would have been me instead of her. I just want my baby to be all right.
Who's this?
Daddy. That's Daddy. Yeah. That's who I've been waiting for, huh?
She's kind of sleepy. We did give her some pain medicine before we took care of her burns.
Give Daddy a kiss. Thank you. She was very lucky. I was about that age too when I also got burned bad like that. I stayed in the hospital like 6 months. And I know what she going through. Like I was 5 years old, but I remember it, you know. I remember it like it was yesterday.
I was trying to cook. I had pulled my grease in a bowl, and she pulled the bowl over. Having a little child, I just realized that I have to pay more attention to what I'm doing, putting things out of her reach. Things happen so easily, so quick, and you can't stop it.
There was a man drowned. He was on the boat that went to 20.
Michelle and Don Featherston were released from the hospital later on the day of their boating accident. Michelle escaped with only a small broken bone in her leg. Don also had relatively minor injuries.
I have 2 broken ribs on my right side, and I'm just completely sore all over. But other than that, we're very fortunate. That's the only injuries that we sustained.
I just recently started back going out on the water. Just last year. It's been 11 years and my parent got killed out on the waters. And I just recently started going back out.
We were definitely, so to speak, speeding, but there's no speed limits on the water. There's not a doubt in my mind that the life jacket gave perhaps that split second, even though it was partially tore off of me, it gave Dempsey the opportunity to get to me to get my head out of the water.
The day after Jamise was burned, Dr. Hargroder looks in on her.
Y'all doing okay? There's always a possibility of infection almost until the burn wounds heal. Usually after about 7 to 10 days, if you've gotten away from infection by that point, the risk of infection is less. Sometimes it takes up to 3 weeks for a deeper second-degree burn to heal, so we'll just have to...
I'm just trying to be there for her, you know. Because as long as I'm there, she gonna be all right.
They're gonna smack it out. You better give them something to eat.
3 months later, Jamise Barrett has completely recovered from the burns.
I would say thank you to all the staff at Baton Rouge General for their kindness and everything that they did.
I would like to thank Almed, paramedics, getting her there quick the way they did. That helped her a lot.
When I have a child, I said, I know she's gonna brighten my day. When I'm down, she's gonna make me smile. And it's been just like that. When I'm down, I mean, I be down sometimes. And she come and say something to me, and I just laugh and forget all about my own problems, you know. I love her.
All right.
And I just hope I can do for her like I want to.